Welcome back to Let's Play Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga for what is the final time. Here, tucked away in the basement of Anahata in a nondescript corner on New Game Plus, we can find a bonus boss battle. Just showing off my skills for the fight here, some interesting choices you may notice, which we'll go over as we get into the fight. But yes, this fight can only be fought on New Game Plus. This is recorded on my personal file, where you see I took the effort to more or less max out everybody's stats. Everybody's got maxed out HP. The only statistic that isn't maxed out is MP, because MP noises are kind of hard to farm. And Strength on Cielo, because that's just how his level up spell. But in this room, it's the Demi-Fiend, the main character of Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, and he is here with one heck of a boss battle. Alright, as you can see, the footage is heavily sped up here because the raw video file is a whopping 56 minutes, so yeah, to make this watchable, we have to make some concessions. This is one heck of a fight. Now, it's tempting to go over everything all at once, but let's take this one step at a time. So, the demons, since we're not going to see them the entire battle, over on the left we've got Yurimikala. Yurimikala does two things. One, he will either Deikaja or Dekunda any status debuffs that come into play, or he will cast Mabudon. Those are the only things he does. The only exception to this is that he will cast Deikaja or Dekunda depending on the situation. Normally, if the turn order falls this way, it's actually Kukulin that will cast Dekunda, but sometimes they can alternate. But usually, Kukulin prefers to cast Dekunda, and Yurimikala prefers to cast Deikaja. Now, you notice that we're getting hit with Mamudon every turn here. What you thinking? Why don't you have Null Death? Well, we'll get to that. The other thing to watch out for, of course, is the constant physical attacks coming from Demi-Fiend, so it's absolutely mandatory that we have Resist Fizz on everybody. And I know what you're thinking, why not Null Fizz? We'll get to that, Now, back to the demons. Kukulin, he has several actions that he can take. The primary thing that he does is that if your defense is any higher than fully debuffed, he will cast Taunt at you. And, of course, Yurimikala, he will Deikaja away the bonuses. Once Taunt is fully set up, he will use Revelation and Bloodbath. These are far less threatening than the Demi-Fiend's physical attacks, though. Also, as you can see, he has Dekunda and Deikaja. He's used a couple times throughout this fight. Now, onto the Demi-Fiend himself. He has 6 actions that he can take. 4 that are relevant right now, and 2 that we will get to when we get to the relevant part of the fight. As you can see, he can use Zero Speed. That is a multi-targeting physical attack that has a chance of stunning your party. He can use Javelin Rain, a heavy damage multi-targeting physical attack that can mute your party. It's by far the most annoying attack that he uses throughout this fight. He can use Heat Wave, which is relatively weak but has a high crit chance. It's one of the less threatening things he can do. And he can just launch a normal Wimpy Punch, which he doesn't do very often. He actually does it quite a bit later in the fight, but to start off, you don't expect him to ever do that. Now, I have Resist Fizz and Resist Death because they're basically mandatory for this fight. You take way too much physical damage if you don't have Resist Fizz. And Resist Death, of course, Yurimikala, when he's not dispelling buffs or debuffs, he's casting that every turn. If you do not have Resist Death on everybody, you have a huge chance of just getting a team wipe. So yeah, that's kind of a force there. Other skills that we have is Null Critical, which, contrary to what you might think, that does not nullify critical hits. It merely halves the chance that you'll be hit by them. The Demi-Fiend has a sky-high luck stat, probably way higher than you could even hope to get. So his crit rate is pretty high no matter what. But if you don't want them to be constantly getting extra turns, occasionally Null Crit will come through for you. Other interesting skills that we had set was Null Sleep, which is important for two specific parts of this fight. And we also have Close Call. Close Call will allow us to survive fatal damage once, at the drawback of being reverted to human form at 1 HP. However, it is absolutely essential for winning this fight, so we need it. Now, for skills on our characters, Cielo is set up with Debilitate, Salvation, and Last Word. Debilitate and Salvation are going to be the primary things that he uses to heal ourselves and purge the status ailments that we're getting hit with constantly. Last Word is just, if the turn order happens to line up, we don't really need healing, and I just get the chance for him to cast it, he will do that. Gale over here, he has Makikaja, Dekunda, and Salvation. He is pure support. He can't attack at all. So yeah, he is just there to throw out those healing spells for us and get Makikaja going, slightly increase Surf's damage, and allow us to manipulate the enemy's AI. Surf is our attacker. He's set up with Last Word for just targeting the Demi-Fiend, and Celestial Ray and Fire of Sinai for when we need multi-targeting damage. We want to be very careful about the HP of his two demons, because we do not want to kill them. You would think it would make sense to just cast Celestial Ray all the time, because that's way stronger than Last Word, but we don't want to do that, because we want to be very mindful of when the Demi-Fiend is summoning new demons, because that is a central thing that the Demi-Fiend can do. Once one of his demon comes up, or gets killed, he can bring out another one, and he brings out demons in a set order, and once you've killed them all, it just rotates around back to the first one. He has 6 demons altogether. Kill the 6th one, Cuchulainn comes back out. Now, we're coming up on the first major hang-up on this fight. That's, well, it's a very important thing that you are prepared for, because if you don't have some kind of counter to it, you just lose outright. But I slowed down the footage for that so I can explain it a little better. But I am keeping an active count of the number of actions that Cuchulainn and Gaia take, because if they take a certain number of actions, which the exact number is 30, they will cast Rakarmdra, killing themselves and fully restoring the Demi-Fiend's HP and MP. Obviously, that's bad. One caveat to this, Dekija and Dekunda do not advance this counter, so that's why you want buffs and debuffs. You can manipulate the AI and get them to have dead turns. Now, I killed Cuchulainn here because he was coming up on his 30th action without doing Dekija and Dekunda, and Pixie comes out, and check what Pixie does here. Cast Dormina. It hits Cielo. Gaia Rage. This is the ultimate skill of the game. Check out the damage that this does. Yeah, 12,000 damage. There is no way you're surviving it. It has sky-high accuracy, so it's almost impossible to dodge, unless your characters are asleep. Then Null Sleep will activate, and they'll dodge it, and that'll pretty much end the Demi-Fiend's turn. What is the condition for him using Gaia's Rage? He has 2 specific demons that he summons, that when they come out, they will cast Dormina. Immediately after they cast Dormina, his next action that he gets, he will use Gaia's Rage. Now, I've consulted a bunch of different videos and guides to come up with a counterplay for this fight. So, no, this is not wholly my own for the fight. The specific video I watched to develop a strategy for this was a SMT YouTuber named Buffmeister. Had a pretty good video for this. I just slightly modified his own skill set. The only difference between my skill set and his is that I put Celestial Ray onto Surf for more consistent damage. He actually very weirdly had a blank spot in his skill list for that. The other guide I consulted was Jagged Jim's walkthrough on GameFAQs, just to get a basic outline of the fight, and I went to the Megaten fandom wiki to get some clarification on the mechanics for the fight. Specifically, I went to there to learn that when Dekija and Dekunda are used, that does not advance the action counter for the demons. One thing I want to bring attention to there is that you saw that Pixie used Medea Rahan. Don't worry, that is not a random action. The Demi-Fiend has 18,000 HP, but the first 9,000 HP of damage that he takes, when that happens, one of the demons that is out on the field will cast Medea Rahan and bring him back up to full. So technically speaking, the Demi-Fiend has 27,000 HP, so don't worry, that's not something that we have to worry about. Anyways, I've been yammering on about ways to survive Gaia's Rage. Let's talk about Pixie for a second. Pixie has an assortment of actions she can do. She can cast Megidolaun, she can cast Maziodyne, which is pretty annoying because that's Gale's weakness. And she can cast Vanity. She also has Diorama, but it only heals like 200 HP or so it's not terribly worrying. It only sets you back like a turn, if that. And Pixie is actually the centerpiece of a famous cheese strategy for this fight. Pixie can enable this strategy that doesn't come up until we get the next demon in here, but it is called the Red Star strategy, named for the GameFAQs user that discovered it, Red Star. Simple enough, right? But the Red Star strategy, the basis of this strategy is that you catch Pixie and the next demon that comes out after Demi-Fiend, Arahabaki. You catch them in a loop where they do nothing but cast Dekija and Dekunda until they run out of MP. And Pixie in particular is desirable for this because she has very low MP, and if she casts high MP spells like, Vanity and Make It Alone, she'll run herself out very quickly. So yeah, she's very good to exploit for that kind of strategy, but it's pretty inconsistent, and like I said, it's a cheese strategy, so I didn't go for it. But it is one of the strategies that is well known for making this fight a bit easier, and it means you only have to survive one Gaia's Rage. And yes, you do have to survive at least one Gaia's Rage. Between the Medea Rahan and just the low HP of his ally demons, the fact that there's no way you're going to kill the Demi-Fiend before that turn counter comes up. Or with the Medea Rahan, there's no way you're going to kill him before the Karma turn counter goes off. You have to take at least one Gaia's Rage, though if you're really lucky, you can defeat him before one. I kind of made a boneheaded move here and killed Pixie way early in her turn counter, so that kind of guaranteed I was going to eat a second Gaia's Rage, but oh well. This gets two new demons out on the field. Arahabaki. Arahabaki's not too threatening, particularly if you have Resist Death. His main skills are he has Gate of Hell, so there's a chance of being stoned, although a relatively low one with Resist Death. He has Blood Curse, which is by far the least threatening thing in this fight. Blood Curse is no issue at all. He has Ragnarok, which is decently threatening, but only if he gets like 3 of them off. And he is also the resident Dekunda user. Titania over there is much more annoying. She has the various debuff spells, which she uses relatively randomly, as you can see right there. And she also has 3 types of elemental magic. She has Maragidyne, she has Maziodyne, and she has Mabufudyne. So with my team setup, I have 2 weakness ticks for her, and this honestly was probably kind of a bad idea to keep her in here, but because I had already killed Pixie, I didn't want to kill her because the next demon that comes out after her is the next trigger for Gaia's Rage. I did actually want to clarify one thing that I noticed was incorrect on the fandom wiki. It says that Gaia's Rage will come out every 2 demons that you kill. Obviously that's not true, just by playing the fight. You saw it came out after the first demon we killed. The specific trigger for it is, of course, the aforementioned. That demon that he summons that can use Dormina uses it, and the Demi-Fiend's next action that comes up. Now, for ways to survive Gaia's Rage, obviously I got lucky and actually got sleep on somebody, but you can't always guarantee sleep will happen. So, ways to survive it without null sleep, and as people have played the game, this became apparent that this is a better way to do it. We can actually manipulate the Demi-Fiend's AI. Now, I mentioned that the Demi-Fiend has 6 specific actions. The 2 that I didn't mention were, of course, Gaia's Rage, but also Summon. Gaia's Rage, when it is triggered, it takes precedence over everything else the Demi-Fiend can do. And incidentally, one of the things that triggers it is having any nullification passives, or throwing up any shields like the Void skills, or attack mirrors or magic mirrors. Demi-Fiend will just always counter with Gaia's Rage if you do that, so you lose the fight immediately if you come in with any of that nonsense. The other action that he can do, Summon, that is the only thing that takes priority over any other action he can do. So even if he has an opportunity to kill you, if he does not have a full set of demons on the field, he will instead choose to summon. So you're already kind of seeing the thing here. If we line it up so that we kill a demon, Dormina comes out, and if we don't get tagged by that, but the Demi-Fiend doesn't get a chance to go, he'll have wasted turns bringing that demon out. That demon will likely have or say he brought a demon out, and one was still alive but it was on death's door. Because there was only 3 press turn icons between them, he summoned anything. Neither of the demons are going to trigger any turn icons, so you don't have to worry about Gaia's Rage coming out that turn. You can kill the other demon and set up Debilitate. The Demi-Fiend will use Gaia's Rage. If you have any characters who can survive it, either via close call or being asleep, that's no worry there. The demon that is present will use Dekunda because that overrides their script, and because there is an empty space on the field, the Demi-Fiend will then use Summon, and you can survive it guaranteed. So yeah, with enough smart play here, there's surprisingly less luck involved in surviving this fight than you realize, though definitely, of course, that's from the perspective of you have maxed out characters here, you have a airtight skill list to minimize the RNG involved. Oh yeah, that's the other thing that Arahabaki did that I knew was blanking on me. He can use Debilitate. Very annoying, but we can manage. Just Dekunda that junk off. At least it's not more damage that we have to deal with. At least it's not instant death. But yeah, so that is one of the ways you can survive Gaia's Rage. So at this point, I kind of got, even though Titania is undesirable to have on the field, I've kind of got a good thing going here, and we were able to lay into the Demi-Fiend. We're also past his Medea Rahan, so that's a good benchmark fight. That lets us know that we're doing pretty good. Now, things that you can do to kind of help survive Demi-Fiend turn, if you see any chance to use Debilitate, it's not a terrible idea to use it, because that gives a not insignificant chance that the Demi-Fiend will miss. And of course, less actions for them means better survival odds for us. Definitely the most annoying attack that the Demi-Fiend has is Javelin Rain. That mute is just so obnoxious, and it completely changes how you have to tackle these turns. As you can see, he missed there, so that's a good thing for us. One thing with Zero Speed, if it stuns everybody except Surf, I honestly would just take that as it is, and if you're like over 700 HP, there's no defense debuffs in play, you can really roll with stun. It's not a huge deal if you're getting hit, and if your guys who aren't attacking at all are hit by it, obviously it doesn't affect them because they're not attacking. Yeah, they can't dodge, but you so rarely dodge in this fight anyway. As you can see, this was a really unlucky turn, and I was playing a little risky here, but it ended off okay. Surf was close to dead, but nothing we couldn't handle. And here we've got Parvati. Parvati is the next Dormina caster here. Now, Gale, he actually got put to sleep, but unfortunately, because it happened on the end of their turn, he is awake by the time the turn comes around. That's the downside of having maxed out luck. That also increases the rate of recovery there. But there's the demonstration of how you can survive the Demi-Fiend's Gaia's Rage without Null Sleep being in effect. I killed the demon, and because there was a debuff in place, Parvati decided to Dekunda, even though she could have killed me there. So yeah, it all worked out for us. I decided to revive Surf, or Cielo there, because I realized next turn I could just have Gale do Salvation, get everybody back up to speed, and I'll find a situation for Cielo to retransform soon enough. Now, as you can see, Kukulin's back in the field. Parvati is also back in. Parvati is a very wide range of skills that she can use. She has all the buffs. Casting Tarukaja from her actually is very threatening. Boy, that can get ugly very fast. She also has Mahamon, which can be very dangerous if she connects with that on everyone. And actually, you probably noticed Cielo being in human form nullified that. That's one of the few nulls that we can take advantage of. Definitely very nice when that happens. And I think she has an elemental magic, but it escapes me. She also has Medea Rama, but yeah, as you can see, only 300 HP there. Just sets us back a turn, not the most threatening thing in the world. And also she has Deikaja, so she enables Kukulin's taunt strats. But we're actually in the endgame here. We can definitely defeat Demi-Fiend before he calls in Pixie again, because it's going to be rotating around. After one of these guys dies, Demi-Fiend will come in, and then Pixie. But we have this in the bag now, more or less, barring some really unfortunate luck, which thankfully did not happen. And yeah, like I said, you need surprisingly less luck to win this fight than people make it out to be, if you come in with a good team. But definitely you need luck to win it efficiently. Like, if Javelin Rain keeps proccing Mute, that's just such an obnoxious thing. Now, of course, I've been using Almighty attacks pretty much this whole fight. Do you have any other options? Well, yes. For starters, the demons, they do have slightly modified resistances over the standard demons, but I didn't really look into that because we're not really going to be attacking them with anything but Celestial Ray or Fire of Sinai, so who cares? The Demi-Fiend himself, he nullifies everything save for 3 types of attacks. Of course, the Almighty attacks that we've been using this whole fight. But also, he is fully susceptible to Earth-type attacks, so you could technically do more damage with Pterodyne with Earth Amp and Earth Boost, but obviously you don't really have the skill set economy for that. As a more quirky thing, he is vulnerable to Gun. If you played Nocturne, you'd notice that these attack types were the only attacks that were not represented in Nocturne. So because they weren't in Nocturne, he is not immune to them in this game, because obviously he would not have immunities to those. just a quirky little thing there. Gun, now that Kukulin is back on the field, there is actually kind of a silly thing you can do. If you get to the end of the turn after he taunts you, and Demi-Fiend was not able to crit or anything and let Parvati Deikaja those off, you could have a character, or more specifically, you could have Surf in human form to pepper him with powered-up gunshots with Magatama bullets, but that's a little too gimmicky and silly. I mean, he still has his passives in human form, so it's not the dumbest thing in the world, but I didn't really experiment with it too much. But yeah, that's basically the fight. Apologies if I didn't explain anything too well here, but yeah, basically the crux of the fight is less getting really lucky and more manipulating the AI to do things that is desirable to you. You definitely want them using Deikaja and Dekunda as much as possible so that they aren't advancing their turn count to use Rakarmdra, and I kept a piece of paper where I was making tallies for every non-Deikaja, non-Dekunda action that they did. So that's how I was able to keep track of that. If you do this fight, you definitely want that. You do not want to lose track of the counts and then suddenly have Rakarmdra come through. And actually, towards the end of this fight, I was getting really nervous because I was letting Kukulin get way too close to his counter. This is actually, believe it or not, only my third try on this. Yeah, that's I was surprised how quickly I actually took through this fight and was able to beat it. But one fight, I was just at the end after 50 minutes of fighting this guy, but I let Kukulin get too many actions. He Rakarmdra'd. Whole fight was undone. I was salty. But yeah, I doubled down, redid the fight. Almost had the same exact problem again, but I managed. This is, I'm proud of how this turned out. The reward we get for this in Digital Devil Saga 2 is the pinnacle of all bragging rights rewards, but hey, I got it. I have fully completed this game in every way you possibly can. I'm happy with that. But yeah, you definitely start breathing a sigh of relief once the Demi-Fiend, that red number pops up. It's just so close you can taste it. Needless to say, it's very frustrating when the Rakarmdra goes through. I forget what the exact count was here, but Kukulin's definitely in the 20s for his actions at this point, so I was definitely thinking that, alright, I'm not gonna worry too much about if I kill both Parvati and Kukulin and bring Pixie back out at this point. I'm just gonna start dumping out Celestial Rays once I get to 25 turns, and hopefully I've weakened the Demi-Fiend enough at that point. Yeah, it's satisfying to see that red number, but it's also just something like, man, when is he gonna die? And those bloodbaths and those boosted physical attacks, just nasty. And yeah, trying to survive this without resist fizz, oh, that would make this so much harder. Just him doing 50% more physical damage. Yeesh. Alright, we're almost there, and I think it's at this point that I start throwing out Celestial Ray. If not, it's definitely next turn. We're getting close on one of my cuts for re-slowing down the video footage. As you can see, I just want this fight to be over as soon as possible, so I'm in a good turn position, or a good damage position here. I just had Cielo dump out a last word also. It was a little risky. Gale came pretty close to dying there, but it wouldn't have been the end of the world if he had died. Those Tarukajas, very threatening. If she gets enough of those up, that can make this fight very dicey. Yeah, I just always use Debilitate to get those off. Do not want the Demi-Fiend reaping the bonus of Tarukaja, especially with all these taunts in play. Alright, it's at this point I start using Celestial Ray. As you can see, much nicer damage there. Unfortunately, due to my carelessness, Parvati was the one closer to dying, but that ended up not being as big a concern. I survive one more, but the next one should finish it off. Yeah, you take Gaia, though, don't worry, I'm not threatened by that at all. Not sure why I used a Great Chakra there. In hindsight, probably would have been better. Oh, that's weird. I forgot I did that. I guess I wasn't confident that the next one would kill. I was pretty frustrated at that, maybe a Rama, though. Alright, but this one, yeah, killed. What a tough battle, but made it. get a bunch of experience and a soma and some money that I have no use for. But yes, we beat it, and this is the perfected file that I imported in the next game. Just sitting in awe of my victory there. So, as a few final notes for this file, I've mastered all the mantras on the characters, which gets you a very nice bonus going to Digital Devil Saga 2. If you have all mantras mastered, you get +5 to every single one of your stats. That's a total of 25 stat points, so it's basically equivalent to 8 level ups. Additionally, if you have more than 1,000,000 Maka going into the next game, you will get a little extra once you start earning money in that game. Guess that fight was just a hallucination. And, with one last awesome quote, the Demi-Fiend leaves us. But, yeah, that's it. That is Digital Devil Saga 1. We've done everything that there is to do in the game, beat the ultimate bonus boss that is the Demi-Fiend. I hope you enjoyed watching this Let's Play as much as I enjoyed making it, and I'll be taking a bit of a breather Let's Play before I get into Digital Devil Saga 2, but I definitely hope to see you there. And I'll definitely go over the New Game Plus bonuses, or rather the imported file bonuses that we get to reap from our efforts in this game. So yeah, until next time, hope you enjoyed watching, and goodbye.